Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 57, Compliance Audits for Process Safety Management. In today's episode, we're continuing our journey on process safety management. Just about done. There's 14 episodes in this whole series. Today's is going to sit down and talk about compliance audits. Many times when we get a process up and running, we're very happy with exactly what we're getting out of it, but that doesn't mean that we haven't deviated from procedures, from processes. So we have to go back and look at compliance audits then. Let's look at what the CFR has exactly for the requirements of this. This comes directly from 29 CFR .119 when we talk about compliance audits. So compliance audits will be completed at least every 3 years to verify that processes and procedures are adequate and being followed. The compliance audit shall be conducted by at least one person knowledgeable, and a report of the audit shall be developed. Basically, you should always be looking at, if you're following your processes and procedures, they're talking about a formalized audit. And when it talks about one person only, I get it. That's what the CFR says. But if you have a team of people, they can look at all these areas from many different eyes, experiences, backgrounds, education, and everything, and you can get a really good, complete audit of how the process is going out there, and not just kind of a snapshot of what one person sees and their background, their education, all that good stuff then. So at the end, you have to have a way of proving that you did the audit. There's a lot of different ways to do this audit out there. And one of the ways, of course, is that you have to have one of the recognized methods out there. When you kind of think about how we did the process hazard analysis, there's a lot of ways to do that. The same thing with audits out there. One of the most effective ways is to literally just do the whole, like, what if again, go through and kind of say, we're following our procedures, we're updating, we're all that good stuff. Let's look at the next slide here. The employer shall promptly determine and document the appropriate response for each finding. So I know that we like to think that we're perfect. We're not going to have any findings out there. When we do, we just kind of tackle it and call it good. But there has to be a way that you're sitting down and documenting your findings and what you're going to do about it. You may find when you do this compliance audit that for quite some time you've deviated. Doesn't mean that you're unsafe, but you've deviated from what you had set in place there. So now you have to get yourself a new baseline, probably do a new process hazard analysis as well. And the employer shall retain the last two compliance audits. For me, I keep all of my audits, of course, because there's always a lessons learned. There's always a reason why we did something, why that we sat down, we looked at this audit, why we changed things, and it's not uncommon that in 5 or 10 years, when we're sitting down and looking at the stuff for a second, a third, a fourth time, that people aren't like, well, why don't we do this? And that doesn't mean that we didn't do it in the past, but we just decided that there was a better way to move forward. So I think that these are fantastic lessons learned. I also share these with the other sites because I know that when I find it at my site, just because of the management, the employees, and all that if it's happening at one site, it's probably happening over at another site then. So, and that is it for episode 57, short and sweet compliance audits. There's no way that I could get into the actual different types of audits and different types of ways of doing that. That's really for the company to figure out. What I would say is keep on doing what you're doing and don't come up with something that's so new and scary that it's really hard to get buy-in out there. So episode number 57, Compliance Audits for Process Safety Management, is complete. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you for joining me and have a safe day.